Alright people, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification. That way you'll know when I upload the next video and you'll be supporting my channel. Follow me on Twitter. Every time I upload a new video, I'll be tweeting. Ladies and gentlemen, and this is what does each race faction do with their dead? Warhammer 40k lore by the channel Major Kill. Why so many people dying in Warhammer 40k? It begs the question, what happens to all bodies? Yeah, he's asking the right questions here. Everybody's so hung up on who'd win, right? Necrons, who are better technologically advanced, all the shit. But what about the logistics, right? Everybody's dead. Now what? How to get rid of everything? I love this, side questions like that nobody thinks about. It's gonna be fun. Remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe so I know which type of videos to do tomorrow. And by subscribing, you'll be supporting my channel. Check out the reaction I did. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast or playlist like Warhammer 40k with all my Warhammer 40k videos. John Tron, Internet Historian, and yeah, let's do this one.
G'day guys and gal. Modern day humanity is pretty vanilla with how we deal with our dead. Bury them, lame. Cremate them, lazy. Fuse the fertile ashes of a loved one with the soil of a tree. Pretty cool, not gonna lie. Regardless of how hard we go with it, Warhammer does it better. From harvesting the organs of the dead, all the way to straight up cannibalizing them. We'll be going through how each race deals with their dead. Before we get started, one quick note.
It's gonna be uncomfortable, right?
New addition to the background, we have a Dark Angel. Love these guys, love this. If you're wondering why I'm just randomly, commissioning thousands of dollars of cosplay for no apparent reason and then kind of putting in the background, there is a reason that I will announce soon when the rest
Not to mention covering his silver play button.
of the shit gets here, and yes, there's a lot more shit to come. Today we'll go over each of the main races and factions as well as some minor ones to see how the many fallen of Warhammer, and holy shit there's a lot of fallen, are dealt with. Let's get into it. Starting us off with the superior master race, humanity. What can I say? I'm a total racist. The Imperium is a vast place, with up to 1 million worlds in it, so saying that there's a bit of diversity is an understatement. Lowly populated worlds, such as newer civilized worlds, would likely have the same systems as us: burials, funerals, and cremations. Hive Worlds are a bit of a different story though, as there isn't enough land for them to be mass burying millions of people every year. As such, common folk on Hive Worlds are generally just taken by the local officials and cremated when they kick the bucket. Unfortunately, I haven't yet read about any situation where a citizen's ashes are being used to fertilize a tree, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. Rich and noble families have it a bit better and can arrange to have their dead buried in large impressive tombs on private land. There is even a type of Imperial world called a cemetery world, which only exists for rich people to be buried on. Some cemetery worlds can be used as a dumping ground for nearby Hive Worlds if cremation isn't a viable option for some reason, but generally they are reserved for the highborn. God damn, that would be one haunted ass planet. Guardsman Regiments deal with their dead depending on their culture and their situation. If they're fighting the forces of Chaos or the Tyranids, two enemies that can actually make use of corpses, then they would generally opt for a very efficient but not very dignified method of cremation, i.e. a flamethrower. In better circumstances, fallen officers or war heroes will be taken off the war zone to be given a full military funeral with honors. You know, the whole shooting guns into the sky and all that shit. The Imperial cult doesn't really mandate a certain way that bodies have to be dealt with. Like, the Emperor never really decreed anything, so there isn't a one-size-fits-all. For example, corpse starch is a thing, which is
I shall have my 20 Primarchs and legions under them. Many soldiers, wars, all the wars, taking over every single planet. What about the dead, sir? The dead? What is that? Emperor didn't say anything about how to get rid of the body. They'll figure it out.
food made up of processed human bodies. This is a major food source for a lot of the most grimdark of Hive Worlds like Necromunda. So as an Imperial citizen, you can either expect to be buried in a nice tomb on a cemetery world, or you could be thrown into a blender and then fed to your children. A lot of diversity right there. For Space Marines, it's a bit different. Each Space Marine represents billions of dollars of investment. Their body's armor and training is on another level. Even in death, their bodies have a lot of value. The first thing that happens to a Space Marine when they die, if there's a living apothecary nearby, is to have their primary gene seed extracted. This is so the gene seed can be planted into a new recruit and can create a new Space Marine. Once the gene seed is extracted, it's really up to what the chapter wants to do. The salamanders will burn their dead, no shit, with high-ranking salamanders being thrown into a volcano. Generally, a Space Marine is stripped of their valuable armor before their body is disposed of, but this isn't always the case. The Grey Knights have a special cemetery on their homeworld of Titan, which is being taken care of by what could be the only blank space marine in the galaxy. This would make sense as having a blank caretaker.
But I mean, Titan is in our solar system Titan, or is this supposed to be a different Titan planet? If it's our Titan, yeah, it's fucking awesome, right? Grey Knight's home is on Titan.
Means that the corpses of the fallen Grey Knights cannot be possessed or tainted. The White Scars will often leave their dead on the battlefield as this is their way, whilst the Iron Snakes cremate their dead and spread their ashes into the sacred oceans of their home world. It really just comes down to what each chapter's culture dictates. I'm sure there would be at least one chapter that would infuse their brother's ashes into a tree seed in order to fertilize it. The various Imperial minor sub-factions have their own unique methods as well. Custodies have been shown to receive full funerals, with one even having an entire world come out to attend his funeral, as they incinerated captured heretics in his honor. It was pretty funny. Generally though, they would just be privately honored by their custodian brothers. As their bodies cannot be harvested for gene seed and their armor is custom made, it seems as if both are left to be untouched when they're buried. The armor might be melted down and reforged, but the lore hasn't really dived too deep into that. The Mechanicus spend more time honoring fallen machines and vehicles than they do their fellow Magos and Skitarii. Skitarian servitors are seen as slaves with no real rights, so their bodies would likely just get harvested for spare parts, whilst Tech Priests and Magos would be shown more respect, but still not as much as a fallen knight or titan. Sisters of Battle are
Of course, Mechanicus are the most weirdest of them all. Oh no, the Titanfall, the machine. What about all the people that die? Who gives a fuck? Throw them into the river. But the machine.
hyper-religious, hence they regularly receive full funerals in churches with priests and everything. Sisters who really stand out could even be honoured as saints, and are buried as such. What about the Eldar? How do they deal with death? Well, not well actually. Considering the true death of an Eldar results in an eternity of spiked sodomy by the god of sex, drugs and rock and roll. As such, an Eldar's approach to true death is to avoid it. The Craftworld Eldar all carry around spirit stones that upon their death of their physical bodies will catch and safely store their souls, preventing them from being taken by Slaanesh. These spirit stones will then be placed into an infinity circuit which helps power the Craftworld and also acts as an afterlife for the Eldar. The spirit stones can then also be placed onto Wraithguard so that even in death, the Eldar still serve. The Exodites have a very similar system, except they use a world spirit instead of an infinity
Yeah, that's the soul thing. What do they do of the body that is lying around though?
circuit. For their bodies, Craftworld Eldar will burn their dead because there's not really much soil or space on a Craftworld for burials, whilst the Exodite Eldar will bury their dead because there's a shitload of space on their maiden worlds to bury. That and the Exodites are tree-hugging hippies who don't want to have to harvest some lumber for a funeral pyre. The Dark Eldar don't have spirit stones, hence their goal is to keep their physical bodies alive. They are so adamant about this fact that the Dark Eldar have mastered resurrection and necromancy. If you are rich and influential enough, upon death, a homunculi can basically revive you no matter how dead you are. Like if you get blown up and the only trace of you left is a finger, they can bring you back to life from just that. They do this by torturing a shitload of people in front of your corpse. This replenishes your essence and regrows your body. Once your body is back to functional health, your soul will re-enter it and voila, no funeral needed, boy. This also shows a bit of an interesting fact about the Eldar. Upon death, their souls just don't instantly fly to Slaanesh. If a Dark Eldar can be resurrected hours, days, or even longer after their death and still maintain their soul, then it seems like Slaanesh would take quite a bit of time to claim a dead Eldar soul. Dark Eldar have been brought back from the dead many years later, but this usually ends badly, as by that time Slaanesh has well and truly had her way with them, hence whatever comes back isn't quite right. Upon true death, the basic bitch Dark Eldar are left to rot, whilst Highborn will have a funeral. Vect was given a funeral upon his death, but then his funeral turned out to be a trap, as all the guests were murdered in order to bring Vect back to life. Yeah, fuck Eldar funerals, I'm never gonna go to one of those. Death isn't a
Alright, Drukkaris, right? Dark Eldars. I mean, it kind of makes sense how fucked up they are, but that's just some next level shit that they can basically bring dead people back. I mean, how OP can you get? I mean, Eldars basically reached the technology that was ridiculously high, and the civilization was so high that, you know, their technology and everything is just fucking next level, right? Obviously not as the Necrons one, but still. And now Drukhari is the worst of the worst, basically. The people who lives in the webway, right? These people basically, just start to do necromancy and ridiculous shit and bring back the people alive. That is just some fucked up shit right there. Drukkaris are already scary, right? how the torture and, you know, do the maximum level of torture and debauchery that they can. And now they basically are unkillable. Once they die, they can always come back if they want to, basically, if the necromancy is done, I guess. And as far as Slanesis thing, I guess it makes sense because they are in their own pocket of dimension, right? They hide there, right? So maybe the soul takes time to go to the warp or something from, you know, that dimension. That's why they can stay there for a long time before they can resurrect her. I don't know.
A big deal for the orcs, and their bodies decay pretty rapidly, so mostly they're just left to rot where they fall. Impressive or famous orcs will have their gear taken and named in their honor. Orc corpse can be raided by other orcs for teeth or body parts for the pain boys to work with. So yeah, orcs don't really have funerals or anything special. However, there are times in the lore when an enemy to the orc, let's say a mighty space marine, dies but takes a shitload of orcs with him. In these cases, the orcs have been known to respect the corpse of the enemy and even build a shrine for them, allowing him to keep all of his gear and even for his battle brothers to retrieve his corpse. So whilst orcs don't really care about death, they can still honor it. Tyranids are ruthless with their dead. They treat the bodies of their fallen like they treat everything. Nom 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 nom. Can't say I blame them though. Recycling is a very important thing. More people should do it. The Tyranids are just misunderstood hardcore environmentalists. Gene stealers would mostly just handle their dead the same way everyone infiltrating wood in order to blend in. However, I can imagine they would also take their dead to their patriarch in order to feed it. Chaos deals with their dead in a variety of ways depending on which god gets to the body first. For Khorne, the skull is taken. That's a no-brainer. But Nurgle gets a bit funky and will often bring back corpses as plague zombies. Titsnitch finds dead things boring as they can no longer be used in his schemes and 4D chess games, so he has no interest in them. And Slanesh is in a similar boat. Like, she's fucked dead bodies before and should happily do it again, but it's just not the same. Demons don't require burials or funerals as their forms are vaporized and banished back to the warp upon death, whilst cultists and space marines will generally just get their bones harvested to decorate war gear and armor. Yeah, look, I can't really see many classy military funerals going down in the Eye of Terror. The Tau lore hasn't really dipped much into their funerals as far as I've read, but it would be easy to assume that they would follow the same formulas of bury or cremate. Interestingly enough though, certain Tau will have their consciousnesses copied and downloaded before death, meaning a version of them can live on as an AI to teach and guide the future generations. As Tau have weak and small souls, as well as the fact that they aren't very religious, death is seen as pretty final by the Tau, so the bodies would be disposed of out of necessity and respect rather than religious superstition. The Kroot, on the other hand, eat the shit out of their dead. Due to their evolutionary ability to absorb DNA through eating, they genuinely gain benefit from eating their fallen brothers. They also believe that your soul is trapped within your body upon death, and can only be freed by being eaten. So yeah, the Kroot probably think that a fart is the soul of the dead being freed. The Necrons don't really do anything with their dead as they don't really die. A Necron who is beaten in battle will be teleported back to a Necron tomb world for repairs, and even if the body is so broken that it cannot teleport back home, the Necrons don't really give a fuck. This is a stark contrast to before they were Necrons, when they were flesh and blood. As they died quite young, their culture was dedicated towards death. Their worlds were full of big tombs and pyramids. Every god of their religion was a death god. Death was synonymous with the Necrontyr culture, more so than any other culture ever. It just goes to show how much the Necrontyr lost when they walked into those soul furnaces. Their entire culture was inverted. As the ancient saying goes, there's many ways.
Yeah, Necron story is so fucking sad. Obviously, they don't care about being dead because that's what their lives were before everything went down, I guess, before the Khitans and everything.
To fuck a skinned cat, just as there's many ways to bury, cremate, mutilate, consume, and sodomize a dead body in the grim darkness of Warhammer 40k. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be. Only $1.
Damn, so this is really interesting. I mean, obviously on the earth beings kind of follow the same thing, cremation or burial, where it's probable. Cremation is pretty easy one because it would basically, just destroy the body, so nothing to worry about. But wherever there's possible, people bury them, right? And every other fucking chaos one, obviously they don't care about the more militaristic, like, salute and I guess gunfire and things like that. They don't care about their chaos gods. Why would they give a shit about all that? Necron thing, obviously Necron being so advanced, it would be rare thing if they literally died nowadays with the technology they have, right? And the number is so small, they would be careful with that shit. Drukhari's, oh my god. They are already so fucking terrifying with all the torture and shit they do. Now they use necromancy because they're so scared of Slanesh. They don't want their soul go to Slanesh. Basically, they would do anything to bring back the soul. This is so fucked up. They are so scared of Slanesh that they are doing unspeakable horrors to everybody. Right? That depth is so ridiculous. Like, you know, there's, oh, we are so scared of Slanesh. We're going to run away into pocket dimension and we'll make sure we never die and go to Slanesh. How are we going to do that? We are going to torture and kill every single person like you never seen. That is just ridiculous. Alright people, that was what does each race faction do with their dead. Warhammer 40k lore by the channel Major Kill. If you want me to do more Major Kill videos, comment down. Right? If I get enough comments about it, I guess I'll do more Major Kill. But yeah, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. Check out the reaction. There's a link in the description. Check out the cards, check out the ink cards. And yeah, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you next time.